Good morning everyone, hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're having a fabulous Sunday morning. Well, it's the end of the school holidays and most parents really are running out of time, not time, but like cash, I guess, and ideas on how to keep the children sort of busy and entertained. But as we're approaching the start of the school year, and it's like in the next sort of 2 weeks, I think, isn't it now?
Yeah, around that.
But
depends on the school.
Yeah. It's a perfect time really to start integrating children's attention towards learning and in particular reading. Today we're really excited to be here with Susan Spelic. She is a reading advocate, author and founder of The Reading Mountain. How are you doing?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here and I love chatting with you as always.
Yeah, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Susan today is going to be sharing 5 easy ways to support home reading, and they are fabulous tips and ideas on just how to be resourceful, and they're ideas that are really just out and about, and hopefully, and I'm certain there's going to be some ideas that maybe you haven't thought of before, but most importantly they are for the benefit of children and their education. Every parent really wants the best education for their child. That's absolutely fair to say, but it's also fair to say that a parent is a child's first teacher. And with life being as busy and as stressful and as expensive actually as it is, it can be challenging to find fun and cost-effective ways to incorporate learning into our day-to-day lives. I was just chatting with Susan before and we we're just saying the benefits of reading are really well documented. And some of them include, for example, that it exercises the brain, it enhances, improves concentration, it teaches children about the world around them, it improves vocabulary and language skills, develops imagination and creativity, it encourages a thirst for knowledge, it develops empathy, and it's just a different form of entertainment without a screen. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
You know.
And it can be on a screen as well.
But it can be on the screen.
But reading is reading, but at the end of the day it's about that exchange and the oral language and the learning and the fun.
Absolutely.
And before they can read.
Yes. Yeah, and other things like it helps create that bond, and I think the time that parents share with children with bedtime stories, that time is really so memorable and cherished because they're only young for a very short period of time, and just those short years where you actually can put them to bed and read them a bedtime story is really it's cherished.
Yeah, it's special.
Really special.
Yeah, even though it can be annoying sometimes when you're tired. But especially if they choose the same book over and over again. But that's, it's about that sweet moment in time that later on you'll want to return back to.
Absolutely. So creating that bond. And the other thing is it's fun. So, as mentioned, we're going to be sharing, Susan is going to be sharing the five tips. We've got 3 key questions. So we might get straight into them actually.
So it's always about being on a tight budget.
Well, that's the other thing as well. And that's what we're just talking about. So Susan, tell me.
That was my focus when I wrote the article. Yeah, so I've got 2 daughters who are in their early 20s now, and that makes me officially a lot older, but that's okay.
And wiser.
And wiser. So we've got, I've got an experience of being a single income family, being in a single income family. My hubby was at work. I was at home with the kids. There were times where we had to budget all the time. There were high interest rates. It was tough. It was a tough time, but we got around it in different ways, and I wrote about that today. Last time, yeah.
Yeah, in the article.
Yeah.
So Susan shared some cost-effective ways that can help with learning. These can be used obviously now leading up to the end of the school holidays, any school holidays, but these are ideas for almost every day of the year also.
Absolutely. And so, it's about adding to what you're doing and really not digging too deep into that wallet that's already been hacked over the Christmas break.
And they're just creative ways of being resourceful.
And reusing and recycling as well, which is always good.
Very good. Yep. All right, so
let's rock and roll.
Let's get into the first question. Okay. How can parents access quality literature for free? That's, we love the word for free.
So there are lots of, even if you Google free reading resources, there's a plethora of websites out there that give you, some good quality ones and some not so good quality ones. But YouTube's a really good one as well, where there's a lot of animated audio, video with subtitles for books and things. But if you want to limit screen time, and which we all should do, I think, we can look at, don't laugh, you're either an op-shop person or you're not, but I am, and I love fossicking around for little treasures, but op-shops have fantastic books and often in excellent condition.
And this is something that you've done before in the past, so tell us a little bit about that.
So I set up literacy at a school when I was teaching full-time, and there were very few reading resources, and so we had to set up classroom libraries. So I was just fossicking. I was literally collecting all the books I could.
Yeah.
50-cent books, dollar books. They were just, and they had to be good quality and good examples of literature, and good books that kids would want to read. It's all about harnessing them, harnessing that interest, and I really, really invested in op-shop books, and I got so much for my money.
Yeah. Like you said, so 50 cents a
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah, it was great. And so, and often they threw in books because you bought so many. And you said, they'll explain what they were for, and okay. So it was really great. Yeah, it's fantastic. So if you were around in 2009 looking for kids' books, I was the one that had them all.
And it says that in the article too.
Absolutely.
And I think gives you the opportunity to build like a bit of a home library as well, I think, which is a cost-effective way of, turning the TV off, and the best thing to do obviously is just to be able to sit there and
having
read.
that quiet time.
Yeah.
And there's also the little free little libraries that are around in neighbourhoods, so you can Google that. So there's one in my neighbourhood where kids come and go and they contribute, and the books rotate around. So you might see the little cubbies that are on the fences.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an example of a free resource.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got your libraries.
Oh, doesn't everybody love a local library?
About the library. Not everybody, but some people do. And it's a really nice downtime, because often kids can be snuggling in the corner with all the really good, cool new picture books that have just been purchased.
Yeah.
And you can actually sit. They can happily be looking through them, and you can have time on your own as well next to them.
Yeah.
So, and you can borrow them. But another thing that parents might not know, and that is if a child wants a particular book and you haven't got the money to buy it, you can actually request it from the librarian and on their list of acquisitions. And if they've got the money, they might just buy it, and you might be that first person to reserve it and the first person to read it. So it's a win-win. Yeah.
And you mentioned also in the article that sometimes that libraries will sort of replenish their books and throw some of their books out as well. So is that something that happens quite often?
It happens usually at least once a year in most libraries.
Yeah.
But the books are usually a little bit more worn than the ones you might find in an op shop, because they're more they're read more. But doesn't mean they're not great.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes they're 10 cents, 5 cents. It's even cheaper.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic. So bring a big bag. Ask when the next turf is on.
Yeah.
The next, purge.
So then it's purge. So local library. You speak about the What's On events as well. That's in the school libraries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the library websites will all have a calendar of events coming up. They might be visiting authors like myself coming in to read books to kids, a free read, where they can borrow the books as well that they actually hear. You've also got story time in the park, like they do in our local library. So there are many different activities. There could be art activities as well that have got a literacy base to them as well. So there are so many different, and libraries have different ways of doing them. So it's worth being a member of different libraries.
Yeah, and author visits you speak about as well.
Yes. So that's a time where you can sit down and not just read the books that I've written, but also to answer questions about being an author and how I work with illustrators. So that's what I do with schools as well.
How wonderful.
I enjoy that part. I love that part. It's good fun. Yeah,
so
great.
the books that Susan has been author of include some of these ones back here actually, which they are beautiful, and they are beautiful presents as well, which I gave my nephew the collection for Christmas, and he just loved it.
So they're for kids also who are struggling readers. So it's about that support. So they're chapter books for kids who are struggling to read, and who have learnt most of their sounds and are still hesitating at words that they're not sure of. So these are simple reads with lovely stories, beautiful art.
Oh, they're beautifully illustrated too.
Cassandra and Caitlin did a beautiful job in, this,
yes.
in these 5 titles. Yeah.
So we've got the local library,
Yep.
And some other things you speak about as well.
Free Little Libraries in Neighbourhoods, that's the one I did. YouTube, oh yes, so you've got Alison Clark is a very, very, she's an expert speech therapist, and if you Google Spelfabet with an F, not a PH for the sound, Spelfabet, there are free resources on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've also got the 5 from 5 website, which is an excellent group who use research as part of their push to improve literacy. So 5 from 5 website, they have free parent resources as well on how to teach reading.
Wow. So Spelfabet is Spelfabet.
Yeah, and Alison Clark is a gun, and she's a very passionate lady who knows her stuff, and there are free resources on that as well.
Yep, so she's a speech pathologist who's passionate about, is it phonetics?
Yes.
Yep, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And then you speak
Phonics,
about
yeah.
phonics, and you speak about the little libraries that exist in the neighbourhoods. And you speak about in the article also that's a great opportunity for children to set up their own.
Yes,
as
absolutely,
well.
and that's a fun thing to do because it doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be a plastic box with the proper lid. It's going to sit in the weather, so keep that in mind.
Yep.
But it might be an activity to build a little cubby type thing, and making sure it doesn't sit out too far from the footpath, and it's got to be safe for everyone who's walking past. But yeah, it can be really cute. You can paint them and individualise them. It's really sweet.
It's a beautiful way of paying things forward as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I'm about to visit some and put some of my books in, a few of them, just as
you have to send us through some photos.
Yeah, I'll do that. Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So this is something that you can set up at the front of your house, and it's fairly easy to set up. Yeah. All right. So question number 2. Here we go. Why are audiobooks so good?